Good evening. Welcome to the January 18, 2012 special meeting of the Prince George's County Board of Education. Before I begin, please turn off your wireless communications as they tend to interfere with the taping of the meeting. Mr. Armwood, would you lead us in the board prayer and pledge of allegiance? Thank you, Mr. Armwood. Ms. Jackson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Armwood?
Present.
Ms. Beck?
Present.
Ms. Boston?
Present.
Mr. Barrows? Ms. Eubanks?
Present.
Ms. Jackson?
Present.
Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Waller?
Present.
Ms. Higgins?
Present.
Ms. Jacobs?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, we're going to go directly into public comment as we have 35 registered speakers. You have been registered to speak in public comment forum where the Board of Education will listen to your comments. To the extent that this is a special meeting, following your comments, there will be a presentation by the superintendent. All registered speakers, you have 3 minutes to make your presentation. At the sound of the buzzer, we ask that you finish the sentence that you are on only. You may not relinquish any of your time to a registered or another unregistered speaker. We ask that you address individuals by titles. Do not use derogatory or profanity terms. You will be warned once regarding this. If you continue, your comments will be terminated and you may be asked to leave the meeting. This is solely just to standardized to make sure that we have a well-run meeting. Speakers are encouraged to use titles rather than names, as I said. Also, if you do have a copy of your statement, we still encourage you to leave a copy of your statement with Mr. Coleman, who is sitting there. Raise your hand, Mr. Coleman. Thank you. Your adherence to the guidelines will enable public participation. The board would not address your comments directly, but to the extent that, as I said, this is a special meeting, so you may hear some responses to what you may have said from the superintendent in terms of clarification. At the time that the buzzer goes off, again, finish your sentence, and what will happen is the gentleman over here will turn off the mic. So if you go beyond that time frame, that's why you won't be heard. Seeing nothing else, Dr. Height, we're going to go directly into public comment, and then you can do your presentation afterwards. I'm going to call you in 3s or 4s so that we can expedite the time frame as well. We have Samantha Lawson, a 5th grade student at Heather Hills Elementary, Cadet Major Andy Michelle, 11th grade student, Cadet William Hill, an 11th grade student, these are Forestville Military Academy, and Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Danielle Logan. Please come forward and form a line so that you may begin your public comment. Ms. Lawson, you may begin.
Hi, my name is Samantha Lawson, and I am a 5th grader who goes to Heather Hills. I am a non-tag kid. I am a drummer in the band, a chorus member, and a safety patrol. It is a wonderful school and has a lot of wonderful teachers in it. If this school or my teachers have taught me anything, it's to have taught me anything is to not give up on what you love. And I love this school, and I'm not giving up on it. And I don't want it to give up on me. This school is the best thing that ever happened to me and my brother. He is one of Miss Hazard's heroes. When he was in kindergarten, he did not want to go to Heather Hills. He did not want to go to any school. So every day, Mom and I would walk to school and sing him the Heather Hills song, and it would go like this. I don't want, yeah, I don't want to stay home. I'm a Heather Hills kid. There's lots of stuff to do at school and friends to play with. There's math and reading and story time too, and a whole bunch of people to play with you. I don't want to stay home, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Heather Hills kid. Yeah. So please don't kick me out of my school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Cadet Major Andy Michelle.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent, and other members of the board. My name is Cadet Major Andy Michelle. I am a battalion commander. I am also president of Class 2013, and I was recently elected to chairman of Prince George's County Youth Commission. I am standing here before you as a proud knight of Fordsville Military Academy. This school has taught me to be independent. It has helped me become a lot more mature than when I first came into high school. And most importantly, it has groomed me to be a strong leader of my peers. The difference between Fordsville Military Academy and other schools is that other schools do not stress the importance of pride, leadership, and integrity in all disciplines the way Fordsville Military Academy does. If you change this school over 46 students, it will cause confusion within the two bodies of students, and the great disciplines of this school will not stand out as greatly as they do now. Some people believe that the change would bring up enrollment, but the truth is many parents have already said if Fordsville changes, then they will put their cadets in private schools, which in my eyes would be the best thing to do. I never understand why we are always changing what's working and ignoring what's wrong. The only thing that needs work at Fordsville is the fact that we have a small gym, a terrible track, an outdated weight room, and the fact that we do not have an auditorium. As far as learning and growing, we have some of the finest teachers in the country who care about their cadets and love to see them grow. We also have the best Army instructors who commit to teaching us the values of honor, integrity, loyalty, and determination, all of which will help us become great leaders in whatever career we choose. The school has been an Army unit with distinction for over 10 years. How many schools can you say that about in this state, or better yet, this nation? Aren't you proud to say that you represent a county that has one of the finest military academies in this nation? Why do you want to change that? I ask and pray that you listen to those who stand before you today, and also the 700 signatures you have received in opposition of this bill, of changing such a great school to learn and a fine school to grow. Please listen to those who have put you in the very chairs you sit in, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cadet William Hill.
Good afternoon. My name is Cadet Major William Hill, and I am a Fordsville Knight. I'm not going to be before you long, but I just want to share a few comments with you. Just take a moment to reflect on how Fordsville High School was compared to how Fordsville Military Academy is now. Do you remember the horrific stories that spread throughout the community? Do you remember how low the grades and the test scores were? Do you remember how dangerous the community was? Do you remember? Have you realized that I've been speaking in past tense, or is my standing here before you in vain? I don't think you quite understand. I don't think you understand how much of an impact FMA has had on the surrounding community. Fordsville is and has proven itself to be a light in a dark place. It is and has proven itself to be the very light in the very salt of the community. So the question is today, why change now? Our program has lasted 5 to 10 years, and yet is about to be blown away from the very foundations it stands on. The question today is, why change now? Members of this honorable board, what have we done that has not pleased you? Where did we go wrong? Where is the wisdom in your rationalizing? What do you expect to get from it all? Well, let's just take another moment to just predict how Fordsville would be without the military academy within the next 2 to 3 years. And check this out, a lack of structure. A complete 360 in the community, in the environment of the community as a whole, a lack of the safety of your own children. Finally, a regression in the academics of the school as a whole. We may be small, but we make a powerful, positive impact. We're here to stay and we're not moving. And I pray that anything that I have said will prick your spirit into reconsidering your decision you're about to make. I pray that God Almighty gives you wisdom in your decision making, because the decision you're about to make is not the answer to this situation. The Bible says, if I may, all things work together for the good of those who love God and are according to his purpose. But where is the good in this change? Thank you.
Thank you. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Danielle Logan.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, board members, concerned parents, and students. I am Danielle Logan, a senior at Forestville Military Academy, and I am here on behalf of the student body at Forestville. I am currently the regiment commander, highest-ranking cadet at Forestville Military Academy, Lieutenant Colonel Logan. I am fully responsible and accountable for the entire student body at the academy. As the regiment commander, I direct regiment staff and 3 battalion commanders who are here, if you would stand, 3 battalion commanders who are here tonight. I communicate daily with the principal and commandants concerning matters with the impact of students, teachers, and staff. The military setting at Forestville instills so many values and important leadership skills. Without pressuring the cadets to enlist into the Army, Armed Forces, leaders are what we need in today's society. The rank structure of the student body enables the cadets to be leaders and have responsibility. Not only does Forestville instill leadership, it also prepares the cadets for the real world. Working with others and being under the leadership of your peers is very important. Today, many students don't get the structure they need at their traditional high schools as Forestville does. I know many of students that attend traditional high schools that actually want structure that we have. At Forestville, parents don't have to struggle to get their child uniforms. We provide them. Merging Forestville with the traditional high school would build an abundance of problems, such as increased suspensions, bullying, and so on and so forth. These generations aren't as nice as they used to be. Cadets at Forestville don't get teased because they don't have the newest shoes, or get beat up because they do have the newest shoes. The students in traditional high schools would tease the military cadets, in my opinion. As a graduating senior, I have grown to appreciate and love the military academy just as it is. I ask that you please vote to keep the academy intact and consider the impact of a reversal upon the cadet and the entire Forestville family. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Danielle Logan. Captain Elisa Hunter, Sergeant Major Imani Boyd, Commander Kiera Holmes, Cadet Captain Elisa, oh, you're on twice, sorry. Captain Alicia Hunter, Sergeant Major Imani Boyd, Commander Kiera Holmes.
Okay. Good evening, Superintendent, board members, and staff. My name is Captain Elisha Hunter, and I'm currently a junior at Forestville Military Academy. I'm in front of you today to ask that you please reconsider your decision to change Forestville Military Academy back to a regular high school. Since I've been at Forestville, I had the opportunity to learn and respect the values of life by listening and following the upperclassmen that precede me, and now becoming one of them and reaching back to pull the freshmen and sophomores up so they can learn to respect life in a disciplinary manner. I currently hold a position at FMA as the S4 Logistics and Supply Person. I followed my sister's Legend Hunter's footsteps, who was a 2010 graduate of Forestville Military Academy. She went on to major in pre-med at the University of New Haven in Connecticut. My duties are to order uniforms and supplies for the school. It is things like this that gets me involved in the community and motivate me to do well in life. Please don't take this away. You say the reason is to cut budgets. Well, I understand budgets. I work with budgets. But when you cut a budget that will affect over 700 students, you cut their reasons for opting out of Forestville. The motivation, the structure of discipline, the want to shine in our community. People ask, how does it feel to go to a military academy? I answer with dignity. It feels like I already accomplished one of my goals in life, to set a clear path to be successful in life. I speak to my fellow classmates who couldn't speak for themselves today. We are at the center of this all. We are the ones who would be mostly affected from your decision to change Forestville. Please listen to us and hear our cries. We are the future. We will run this world someday. And last, just ask yourself, why do students really opt out of Forestville Military Academy?
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Cadet Sergeant Major Boyd, a Battalion Sergeant Major, SGA Secretary of Class of 2013, and an 11th grade student of Forestville Military Academy. Unlike my fellow cadets who have attended FMA since their 9th grade year, I made the conscious decision to transfer to FMA my sophomore year. I had the opportunity to experience the difference between a traditional high school and a high school with such strong values, discipline, and tools for life. My 9th grade year, I went to Crossland High School. We had an ROTC program. I was in it, but it was nothing like Forestville's. It wasn't a military academy. I chose to come to Forestville. I begged my mom to come to Forestville. Since I've attended Forestville, I've become a more disciplined, responsible, self-reliant, and developed all the qualities of a leader. I feel if the members decide to change our school and home away from home back into a traditional high school, it would depreciate the value of our school and crush the souls of all the present and past cadets that have worked so hard to build and maintain the military name. Now, I'm going to step away from the paper and tell you my personal opinion. Being a battalion sergeant major, that's my battalion commander, Major Hill. We're in charge of 234 10th graders who are in Let 2. When you walk in the halls of Forestville, and kids who say that they don't want to be there, when they say, hey, Sergeant Major, or hey, Major Hill, that makes a difference than going to a normal high school. Going to a normal high school, half of the students wouldn't even know what a major rank looks like or what a sergeant major ranks look like. Wearing this on my shoulder, it gives me pride to say that I go to Forestville Military Academy because not many people can say that. Me, after high school, I want to be enlisted into the United States Army. I want to be an NCO. I want to wear stripes on my shoulder. Going to Forestville, it has encouraged me to do it. So please, speaking for every cadet in my school, don't change the military values. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Cadet Major Kiara Holmes from Forestville Military Academy. I'm a junior in the academy. I would like to address the issue on Forestville becoming a high school again. Since I have attended Forestville Military Academy, I have changed tremendously. I am now a leader, and my peers look forward to stepping in the shoes of great leadership. Through the years of great leadership makes you want to grow up and mature into a leader. Forestville Military Academy is not only a school, it's a family, and it forms a great sisterhood and brotherhood that forces you to become a strong leader in order to survive. If Forestville Military Academy turned back into a high school, the bond that we worked so hard to get would no longer be there. Since Forestville became an academy, our high school assessment, standardized aptitude tests, and American college tests scores have risen. We've also graduated a 2011 Bill Gates Millennium Scholar. We have 2009 graduates that attend the most known military college, West Point Military Academy, as well as a 2010 graduate with a $96,000 scholarship, not to mention the ROTC scholarships we have to offer. Furthermore, graduating from this academy opens many doors to universities as well as career opportunities. From attending Forestville Military Academy and knowing past graduates, I've heard stories and witnessed Forestville Military Academy positively change. Not only have the students changed, but the school has changed as well. An outstanding principal, well-dedicated administration, and teachers are leading us into the real world the right way. It's so hard to be a Forestville Knight. Not everyone will survive, but majority will succeed and proceed to a wealthy life. I would like to leave you with this question. Would you prefer a school with 1,200 students to attend and 70% are problems, or an academy where 800 cadets attend and barely any problems and are eager to be a positive citizen in the world? Thank you.
Thank you. Bonnie Lawson, Latrice Sims, David Tyree, and Chinwe Aldridge.
Good evening. My name is Bonnie Lawson. I'm the parent of 2 comprehensive students at Heather Hills. I believe you met my daughter Samantha, and then I also have a son, Jason. They're both comprehensive students. I'm asking you not to dismantle Heather Hills as part of the boundary and tag changes that we have done. I've sent emails and offered various alternate scenarios, but the bottom line is this. Heather Hills is a good school. It's in the heart of a strong community. We love our kids, our school, and we support them both. Heather Hills is fully enrolled as an example of what can happen when the school board, the neighborhood, and the school system work together synergistically. You have done a good job here. You have a happy community. You have high-performing children. You have the test scores to prove that you've done well here. The purpose of this forum is to elicit the opinion of the community and other stakeholders. Our opinion is this. Please leave Heather Hills alone. It's a great school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson.
Good evening. I'm Latrice Sims, mother of Sergeant Jordan Sims at Forestville Military Academy. First, I would like to say when I sent my son to Forestville in the 8th grade, he went kicking and screaming. He is a whole nother child with much pride, dignity that I don't think he could have got at any other public school. I want to address the cadets first. This proceeding is to capture the current affairs pertaining to your school. However, I think it's befitting to note your exceptional demonstration as a group. You have signed petitions, discussed the pros and cons, and taken an active position in these proceedings. Discussions in classrooms, hallways, on buses, and to and from school, the cafeteria, and your homes have sparked conversations to debate and understand the why, what, and how this proposed change has the opportunity to impact you individually and collectively. This may be the first time that some of you have felt that you have had a voice to share your beliefs, dreams, and aspirations with your community, to know that your opinions count even though you have not reached the age of the majority. Many letters, emails, telephone calls, and mass communications have been sent on your behalf. You have firsthand experienced what is known as democracy. Your principal, commandment, instructors, superintendent, school board members, Prince George's County Council members, state senators, and representatives, the governor, and your respective communities are aware of your opinions. Your virtues of truth, honor, knowledge, and service are shining brightly, and I personally want to convey to each of you, every one of you, how proud I am of you. To our school board members and superintendent and staff, we the cadets, parents, and community are aware that you have been mandated to provide the wisdom, foresight, and direction of the Prince George's County school system. This is not an easy task. In this day and time with declined enrollment, reduced budgets, and special interest education programs. However, we are before you tonight with a request that you support us in our quest to continue to build upon and not intermingle the existing program at our beloved school, Forestville Military Academy. You have the information that allows you to see the bigger picture. Act upon it by voting to maintain the existing format. Allow our young people, our young adults, this exceptional opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sims.
Good evening, Superintendent and School Board. My name is Dave Tyree, and my son David is a 5th grade student at Heather Hills Elementary School. The big issue with David this year is preparing for middle school. And we had everything planned out. We were going to make our decisions whether to send him to Tasker, send him to Walker Mill, what to do with him based on him finishing up 6th grade at Heather Hills next year. Now to find out in the middle of the school year that these decisions that should have been plotted, open houses gone to, schools visited, instead of taking place in the fall of his 6th grade year, now that decision had to be made now. That's a big impact to my son and to his future. Just as important as that was the reason I came to Heather Hills in the first place. In 2005, I lived in Capitol Heights, and I was looking. My son was 4 years old and getting ready to go to kindergarten in a year. We looked around, we looked up, found out what the best high school or the best elementary schools were. We looked at Fairfax County, we looked in Montgomery County, we looked in PG County. Cultural diversity was very important to me. We looked and found that the best school in PG County, according to the test scores, was Heather Hills. I went to my real estate agent and said, I don't care what house you get me a house in the Heather Hills School District. And that's what they did. A year later, my son started at Heather Hills, and he went to Heather Hills not because he was a tag student, but because he was a neighborhood student. The education he got in 1st grade in kindergarten from Ms. Van Sweringen and from 1st grade from Ms. Smith was outstanding. The foundation he got in kindergarten and 1st grade were amazing. His teachers were amazing. The staff there was amazing. And in second grade, he got into the TAG program, and he's been in the TAG program and will continue on through the TAG program. So my son wasn't only a part of, he was a neighborhood kid and he was a TAG student. And I can't emphasize how much that means and how important that is. The foundation that they receive, the friends that he made in kindergarten, the parties he continues to go to, the kids that he met when the TAG students were brought in and when he got into the TAG program. It's just as important putting all TAG kids together as opposed to a neighborhood. We've got the best of both worlds. And in Heather Hills, we've got the neighborhood feel to a school. We've got high achieving students, and I think that's just very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tyree.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the board. My name is Chinwe Aldridge, and I'm the parent of a 6-year-old child with an autism spectrum disorder and a sensory disintegration symptoms. My family received a letter stating his program would be moved from Tyack Elementary to Rosaryville Elementary, and when I questioned my program staff, they were unable to share any information about this change. These events are disturbing to not only myself as a parent of the program, but to the students who participate in the program. As I heard the gentleman before me speak about parties and friends and things like that, because of my son's disability, he doesn't have those things. The program has made a huge difference in his life and his ability to take part in his educational process. My concerns are as follows. Nothing in our form of the letters or information that has been put out from the board explains why we're moving the program. Will we improve in space? Is it a budget issue, staffing, enrollment in the program? My second concern is, when will the program staff be consulted and informed of decisions made regarding its participants? These students need time to prepare for changes for a move like this. Small changes in their daily function can create a huge lull in their developmental progress. This information must be passed down to the staff before the children are expected to move. Like this school year, they need to start preparing now if their school will change in the fall. My son had to move from his neighborhood school to Tyack during the school year, and it was a horrible experience for everyone involved, Potomac Landing Elementary, Tyack Elementary, and my family. Once the program is relocated, how will we account for any losses in resources such as staff, spacing? What, if anything, does the autism program that's currently housed at Tyack stand to gain from the move? I'm very concerned that my staff at the program cannot help me with these questions, and I've been directed to no one in particular who can explain why these changes are being made, and no one is consulting our program staff to get feedback on how to best make this move for the 8 to 15 students who are participating in the program and have no other option for their educational needs. Thank you very much for your time and your responses.
Thank you, Ms. Aldridge. Kimberly Parker, Wendy Brown, Suzanne Frawley, and Carolyn Colbert. Please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Height, and distinguished Board of Education members. My name is Kimberly K. Parker, and I never hesitate to boast about the greatness of the teachers and staff at John Hanson French Immersion School and John Hanson Montessori School, where respectively my 2 sons and my daughter attend. Participating in this meeting this evening mirrors my position at this very same podium in times past. With that, brevity will be my modus operandi. It's been a long day for many of us, and for some, it's only beginning. John Hanson French Immersion School deserves the right to realize promises made of a dedicated site. The exceptional work taking place there cannot be quashed. You've seen our test scores, met our award-winning teachers, and have both witnessed and applauded our principal for her natural leadership abilities. In fact, as an actively engaged parent for the past 9 years and the school's former parent liaison, I also speak firsthand. Dr. Height, my children in both programs are set for the most part. You see, they already have their feet in both the French Immersion and Montessori doors and are making tremendous strides. In fact, my 8th grade son, who happens to be a young entrepreneur in PG County, is maintaining a B+ average in Algebra 2, which is an 11th grade math subject. My 5th grade son, another young entrepreneur here in PG County, sees his test scores rise steadily from proficient to advanced, and my 1st grade daughter has read 125 books since March, many of which are chapter books like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So again, my children are faring well. So why am I here? It's simple, Madam Chair. I am here because I want other children to be afforded the same opportunity to excel. My children are merely paving the way, but we need a spacious facility for others to benefit in like manner. Distinguished Board, I am the voice tonight for that mother who presently knows not that the French Immersion program even exists, or that father, due to an unforeseen lifestyle change, has to move to Prince George's County, Maryland, one of the wealthiest counties in the U.S., and find a suitable replacement for the French Immersion School he has to leave behind in California. Or perhaps a grandmother enjoying her retirement years who has to assume guardianship for her daughter's children. I am here for the faceless, the voiceless, and possibly the hopeless. So Dr. Height and distinguished board members, time is of the essence. I implore you to make temporary classrooms a thing of the past for John Hanson and honor our request to move to Shugart Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Good evening, Superintendent Height and board members. My name is Wendy Brown, and my daughter Kendall is a 4th grade student with autism at Tyack Elementary School. I stand before you not only to represent her, but also the other parents of students in her class. These parents, some who are single parents, are very distressed about the proposed boundary change that would move the autism program from Tyack to Rosaryville Elementary School. I represent a small but committed group. We are very concerned about the proposed change and how it will affect the students who have worked very hard to get where they are today. We are talking about children who not only have developmental delays, but social and behavior delays as well. With these children, when these children first came to Tyack over 3 years ago, we were met with some opposition. I felt that we were not prepared for my daughter and her classmates the first fall in 2008. But through many months and years of hard work and open communication, Tyack has assembled a staff that cares for our kids and considers their successes as their own. My daughter has made friends at Tyack. She has been able to have these friendships outside of Tyack as well. These friendships were not built overnight, but have grown as her classmates have patiently gotten to know and love her. She has also been on the honor roll for several semesters. Kendall has one more year at Tyack Elementary. In 2014, she will be starting middle school and embarking on a new journey in her educational career. I find it incredible to believe that the superintendent and the board thinks it would be in my child's best interest to move to 2 different schools in 2 years. I am asking the board not to approve this boundary change. The impact of this will have huge repercussions for months and years in my child and her classmates' lives. Kendall, her teacher, and the staff at Tyack have built a trusting relationship over the last 3 years. And that may not be duplicated elsewhere. Having a child with special needs is very challenging. It impacts not only the child, but the entire family. My husband and I are very concerned about how this move will affect Kendall's great progress she has made over the last few years. Her teacher, Ms. Manahan, called me today by chance to tell me how well Kendall had did in her reading test. I was very proud of her as usual. This call was not special or out of the ordinary, but a regular occurrence between me and her teachers. I know it can be challenging to meet all the needs of all the students, but I am praying that the Prince George's School Board will show Kendall and her classmates that they matter and allow them the opportunity to complete what they started at Tyack in the fall of 2008. Please give my daughter the opportunity to continue to succeed at Tyack Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Raleigh.
Good evening. Oops, sorry. Leave it there. Sorry. Good evening, dear Madam Chair, Superintendent Height, and board members of PG County. My name is Suzanne Reintaler-Frawley, and I'm here this evening to speak as a Yorktown parent. To repeat myself, we have empty classrooms, while our neighboring schools require temporary structures. As a parent, supporter, and advocate of public education, I make a plea for equality of education for our children. Evermore, now with budget cuts and restrictions, our children's opportunities are being impacted by having low enrollment as a result of imbalanced boundary lines. Yorktown was a blue ribbon school in 2004. That is only 8 years ago, and there was a student body of 600 children. We are now down to 250. Our boundaries and program definitions have changed over 3 times since the blue ribbon era. Yorktown is a skeleton of what it was before, though it still has the same heart. Our neighborhood has not changed. The children really haven't changed, but our school has. PTA has purchased equipment, which has been taken away and donated to other schools. Children have moved to both Rockledge and to Whitehall from our area, as well as Northview. So please, dear board members, I ask you this evening to vote for a proper use of public resources. Do not place our elementary children into temporary structures when it is not necessary. Please do not keep our classrooms empty when they're right next door. Please vote for our boundary change, similar to what it was before we absorbed some of Northview's student body. And thank you again for making such a good consideration of the proposed boundary state change, and I am in support of that, and I would be very, very happy if it does get voted for. And to the Rockledge parents who've voiced some concerns, I just want to say that Yorktown does have a good heart. We have great teachers, we have lovely children, and I haven't heard any complaints from the parents or the staff at the middle schools or at the high schools saying to any effect that the Yorktown children are in any way different. And our children will be together very, very soon. Elementary goes by far too quickly. And I really do want all of our Bowie children, our neighborhood children, to get the same opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Crowley. Ms. Culbert.
Good morning, good evening, board members, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Allow me a moment to personally thank the FMA drill team cadets for doing what they do best by showing up tonight with pride, dignity, dedication, and determination to walk away as winners tonight for standing up for what they believe in. which is to keep FMA School a full military school with its present academic programs. I, too, as the grandmother of one drill team cadet, and auntie, cook, and the driver to all the drill team cadets, am asking you to open your eyes and see, to open your ears and hear the request of the vast majority of the FMA cadets and me. I feel I speak for all when I state having two different programs under one umbrella will cause distinction between the non-military and military students, and the administration would have to adjust to two different programs. In closing, I'm hopeful and prayerful your hearts will lead you to honor the request of these outstanding youth and allow FMA School to remain, this is military talk, as is. If so, the entire FMA student body and the administration will be able to say to the members of the Board of Education, this is a quote from the FMA drill team, "Job well done." Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Wright, Melody Sproul, Monica Thomas, and Niall Gardner.
Good evening, Superintendent Height, board members, school official, concerned parents, and students. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Education, Prince George's County School System, for the initial vision of developing, implementing, financially supporting the Forestville Military Academy. It is an awesome thing to see a vision transform into such a success. A transformation has transpired by laying the strong foundations that have changed the history of Forestville. The Forestville Military Academy staff, with support of you, the Board of Education Assistant, has executed phenomenal characteristics that has transformed into the Forestville Military Academy cadets. These are distinguished teenagers that have developed their character, respect for others, self-respect, leadership, integrity, organizational skills, and so much more. These are lifelong skills that are being applied daily into our Forestville Military Academy cadets' life, in the Forestville Military Academy life. And these distinguished characteristics are human qualities and traits that are required and imperative for these students to be successful and make it in this society today, tomorrow, and forever. Now, on a more personal note, I'm a single parent. My son constantly was getting in trouble. He's very intelligent young man, but only had my discipline, which was not enough. I'm informed a co-worker of my challenges with my son, and she suggested Forestville Military Academy. She also informed me that several other co-workers' children now attend Forestville Military Academy, and there was rapid positive transformation. My son's grades have improved tremendously. He no longer gets in trouble. His test scores have improved tremendously. He has very much respect. He's extremely organized, and many times he tells me how to organize my closet, my room. I really remind him to keep his room clean, and I don't have to ask him over and over to do something as I used to have to do. I know this sounds trivial, but he always referenced quotes and saying of respect, being organized, and how to self-improve himself. These are quotes that Forestville Military Academy instilled into him. My son has made a tremendous change, and I'm proud to be a parent that have a child that attends Forestville Military Academy. The more values and respect that Forestville Academy instilled and infused in our teenagers are awesome. And I would like to say thank you to the PG County Board of Education. Please continue to support your initial vision. Thank you for your continued support, and may God will be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sproul?
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, Board of Education, Dr. Heights. I want to thank you all for giving us the time this evening to voice our opinions. I would like to start that I am Kingsford Elementary PTA President, and I'm coming here not just as the PTA President, but I'm coming here as a parent. My first and main issue is going to be the boundary changes. I seem to have a problem with understanding the boundary changes, and I'm hoping that in the future that it's printed where at any intellect that you're able to understand. Okay, that I found that to be a problem. Also, transparency as far as money. When we had our meeting at our school, I realized that we have zero budget, and that scares me because I have a child in Kingsford Elementary who is an excellent student. He's in the first grade. He's on the 3rd and 4th grade reading level, and that including reading and math. And that's not by accident. That comes from me as his parent and the administration. Okay? Also, the curriculum. I'm really not understanding the curriculum because I even called the Board of Education, and I would like for it to be broken down to where we understand the curriculum. And if your child is above a certain level, why is it that really can't be addressed? Okay, that's a real problem for me because my son is at a certain level. I also have a question with your constituent services. I had someone to come in with the constituent services, and I think personally to me it creates a barrier between the teacher or the principal and the community or the parents. Because if I have a problem, I really don't need a constituent services to send out, I call it a maintenance ticket, and wait 10 days. Because after 10 days, I'm inconsolable. I can tell you that I'm inconsolable after 10 days. And the reason why I'm saying this is because my son, okay, sorry. Okay, I just want to say this last thing. My son was dropped off at a wrong stop when he was 4 years old. And he was dropped a quarter a mile away. And if I had to wait for 10 days to get a response, I would have lost my mind. So there were a couple of other things, but I think I touched on the main things that I wanted to touch on.
Thank you.
And I'm just concerned about the boundary changes.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Niall Gardner, Joseph Kitchen, Tamara Johnson, Cynthia Proctor, and as you come forward, just as a note, there's no way, Dr. Height, that we would ever have a parent waiting 10 days if their child's left at a bus stop. I understand what she was saying, but I want to make sure that we understand that concern, and that's not a situation that would do that. Mr. Gardner.
Yes, good evening. I'm a parent of a first grader at Heather Hills Elementary. Very much appreciate the opportunity to make an appeal before the board this evening, and I appreciate the tremendously hard work that you have done over many, many months with regard to the boundary proposals across the county. But I do want to make an appeal to you tonight to reconsider the proposal with regard to Heather Hills. Heather Hills is an extremely successful school. I believe it's now one of the top 30 schools in the whole of Maryland out of about 750 elementary schools according to its test scores. And it is, I think, greatly enriched by not only the talented and gifted students who come to the school, but also by students from the local community. My two older children both went to the TAG program while living in the neighborhood. And I do think the proposal that the school board has put forward will potentially rip the heart and soul out of a wonderful community and fundamentally change the nature of a highly successful school. And I think that this proposal really threatens to fundamentally alter one of the great success stories of this county, Heather Hill School, a school with wonderful teachers, a wonderful principal, and wonderful students. And I think the idea of putting about 70 local children onto a school bus to another school, completely changing their lives, taking them away from their friends, from their local community, in some cases even dividing families. I do think that is a very, very risky proposition here that you should really reconsider if possible, because you are talking here about very young children, elementary school children, and my son earlier this week was actually in tears because he thought that he would be forced to go to another school, and he asked me what I was going to do about it as his father, and I said, well, I will certainly speak before the board and do my best tonight, and I am very, very concerned about the impact there will be upon my son and upon many other children who will have to go to a brand new school, make brand new friends. I do think this can be a very traumatic experience. I think the TAG program is absolutely wonderful. I think it has been a greatly enriching experience for all of the students who attend it. But I don't think that we should be sacrificing the local community with the changes that you have proposed. And I do think that there are potentially other alternatives to look into here with regard to expanding the TAG program, which I think is a wonderful program. But please don't destroy the heart and soul of the local community and force a large number of very small children onto school buses to another school in a different neighborhood. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Kitchen?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Height, members of the board. I am here to speak on behalf of PG TAG about the proposal before you this evening. And we've submitted our comments to you before, and so it's been a long night for you. You have some more people out here, so I won't read the whole thing. What I will say is that overall we support the proposal, and we think that the proposal will expand our TAG programs, which is a program that works well in this county and has worked well in this county, and it's one of those programs that when we invest more into, it will work even better. It will improve our system. That being said, I know that we weighed in a little late, and we did that intentionally because we wanted, or I wanted, to hear what people in the community said about this issue. And overall, the response that I've gotten has been pretty positive. Change is hard for people, and the changes that will take place at some of the schools that are directly impacted are serious changes. Displacing any students and their families is something that we should seriously consider. And so that's why I would hope that as we move forward in this process and going forward, that we would take a long-range view and long-range planning view on what our school system will look like in the future, and that we will never end up in January in the middle of a school year talking about changing people's boundaries. Because that is what I think it gets at the root of some of the concern here, is that a lot of this discussion took place over the last few months. It's still new to people. People haven't really weighed in that much. And so here we are in the middle of January on a night where it's supposed to be 20 degrees outside, and there are children here, there are parents here, it's a school night, and everyone's asking them, what do they think about this? And so I know that we've had a number of hearings, but I think that those hearings came a little late at the end of the process. There's no real long vision about what happens next. And so I hope that that's something that we will actually do. The other thing that I wanted to weigh in on a little bit, because I think it's gotten overshadowed in this discussion, is moving sixth graders into middle school. I personally do not oppose that plan. I do have serious reservations about it, though. Nationwide, it is something our middle school students, I am a teacher, I teach at a middle school, it is something that I know that our middle school students is where we lose them, and so we need to catch them. And so I would hope that going forward, I think the superintendent has made a very good case of why this needs to happen. But what I don't think the superintendent and the board has made to people is what happens next. So we move them into the middle school program, and then what? So one of the arguments is, well, we need them to move them in there to make the transition from 2 years to 3 years. So what do we do for those sixth graders when they move in there? What resources do we give them to help their transition? And so I hope that that's a part of the next conversation that we have going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kitchen. Ms. Johnson?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Height, and board members. Everyone else seems to be here to petition against a move, but I'm here to petition for a move. I'm the proud parent of 2 sons who attend John Hanson French Immersion, where they are not only becoming fluent in a foreign language, but they have also scored high on the gifted and talented test. I thought when my husband and I decided over 3 years ago for my sons to attend John Hanson that it was one of the best programs in the southern PG County. If that was the case, why do I feel that sometimes we are neglected? Most of our kids get good grades there and do well on the MSA test, from what I'm told. But in return, I feel as if we have neglected them in the areas of school safety, adequate number of teachers, and accommodation for the increasing number of students. For the past 3 years, I have come to these meetings to voice my concerns about the same issue over and over again, and still there has been no change, no move. I know everything revolves around money, but you can't put a price on the well-being of our children. I'm not sure if it's going to take something drastic to occur in order for the board to realize that this move is urgent and needs to happen in 2012. We share a school with John Hanson Montessori, whose curriculum is completely different than ours, by the way, but still a very good program, but we are crammed into tight spaces everywhere we go. And then we expect for our teachers and administrators to keep structure and order as a top priority. This year alone, my second grader has had an awful experience thus far due to no space. He is crammed into a classroom with 29 other students with no space for his lunchbox to go except for on the floor, no space for his coat, no space to arrange his desk without bumping elbows with a classmate, and yet no one sees this as a problem. I've been told that we have been approved to move in 2012, but then I hear maybe we might move with the Montessori program to Shugart. Not sure if that's true, but again, we will be in the same position as before. Each school would like its own identity and its own facility where we can all bloom where we're planted. Let's look at the big picture in 2012 and move towards a future that is filled with limitless possibilities for both. John Hanson French Immersion has waited long enough, so please do not change your minds between now and August. And let us start 2012 out on a more balanced, positive, and most of all, safe note. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Cynthia Proctor, Kimberly Hall, Suzanne Fauché, Yvette Thompson.
Good afternoon, Prince George's County Board of Education. My name is Cynthia Proctor. I have a son who attends John Hanson French Immersion Program. This year has been a rocky road and a rough beginning for my husband and I. We had to come to the Board of Education to fight for the right for my son to be placed at John Hanson French Immersion School. I'm an advocate for my son. I strongly believe in the children cannot speak for themselves, and we as parents need to take a stand for what we believe in. I also understand about the pipeline in education is so important for me. I do not want my child placed in a problem school or problem area or with problem youth. I believe in taking a stand and voicing my opinion about education is key to me, my husband, and my son. My son went to a Christian academy, but the first 3 years of his life, I educated him at home. When he went to a Christian school academy, he came in Student of the Year. His education has always been key to him. He's in a kindergarten now. And he's attending John Hanson French Immersion. He tells me, Mommy, I do not understand what I'm doing. I feel like I am a dumb child, because he's always been excelling in everything he did. I want to know why or who decided to remove the teacher assistants out of the schools, out of the classrooms, where these youth who are coming in speaking English don't understand anything about French, and they have no TAs in the class. That's why I came tonight. I'm totally surprised that I was out here speaking. I didn't know what kind of forum it was going to be. I thank you for allowing me to come to voice my opinion, and I will be here again to be an advocate for my son and any other youth that I see having a problem in our Prince George's County school board system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Proctor. Ms. Hall?
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Hall, and I'm the parent of a 1st and 5th grader at John Hanson French Immersion School. I'm here this evening to ask the board to vote in favor of the boundary proposal put forth by Dr. Height. Approving this ensures that the students, teachers, and administrators at John Hanson are able to relocate to the Shugart facility and provides a sound building for our program to grow and foster. As a parent at John Hanson French Immersion, I'm sure you're well aware that the Shugart location was voted on by the board as the new location for our program. So I'm here to urge you, upon the successful results of a safe building return for Bradbury Elementary, to move our program to that facility. I'm asking that you stick to your promise. We've outgrown our school. We share, as you obviously well know, the building with the Montessori program, and their program needs the space as well. Not sure if you're aware, but 4th and 5th grade students, my son in particular, a 5th grader, spends his entire day outside with the exception of specials, things like library and cafeteria. He spends his entire day outside in temporaries because there's no space for 4th and 5th graders in the school on the French immersion side at all. This is truly unacceptable. What message are we really sending to our students? The security in the temporaries is not what it is inside the building. On 2 occasions last school year, his math teacher was robbed of school supplies and other essentials. Valuable time is also lost during the day when students have to go in and outside for specials and back to the temporaries for classroom instruction. As we are all well aware, there is a disparity, or at the very least a perception of disparity in the northern and southern part of the county. Let's work together to ensure that safety, education, and space concerns are treated in the same perceived manner as they are in the northern part of the county. Please keep your promise to the parents, teachers, and most importantly, students, and approve the move for John Hanson French Immersion to Shugart in the 2012-13 school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Good evening, Chairwoman Jacobs and distinguished board members. My name is Susie Fouché, and I address you tonight in my role as Education Committee Chair for Yorktown Elementary School's PTA. But my most important title is that of Cameron's mommy, a 3rd grade student who has happily attended Yorktown since kindergarten. Cameron, could you wave to the nice board, please? Thank you. First, I wish to thank you all for taking the time to hear the community's comments one last time before you vote. This body and the administration has truly performed its due diligence over these last 5 months and has provided ample opportunity for all those interested to voice their concerns. I am in support of the proposed boundary change because it will result in a more equitable distribution of our ever-dwindling educational resources, especially those between Rockledge Elementary School and that of Yorktown, both of which are wonderful learning centers for our children. This seems like a no-brainer to me. On one hand, we have a school that's approaching 130% capacity, with multiple portable trailers taking up precious space on its playground. Then, right next door, we have another school with an enrollment of less than 50%, housing 8 empty classrooms. 8 empty classrooms. This makes no sense at all for our educators, the principals trying to create their own budgets for the first time, and especially for all of our children, whether they find themselves being taught in a trailer or walking down a hallway that echoes with its emptiness. If this proposal is voted down tonight, it could ultimately result in Yorktown's closure. And one less school in Bowie would be problematic for the entire community, especially in the years to come, when demand is expected to grow. I understand that change is often viewed with trepidation, so please let me say tonight to all the Rockledge parents and children here tonight that if this initiative is passed, Yorktown lives up to its creed every day. It truly is a community of caring, where peace and respect is touted as the Yorktown way. There will be a warm welcome waiting for all newcomers at our school every day, as well as an incredible team of experienced and dedicated educators, support staff, new friends to make, and a core group of very involved parents. Please vote in support of this boundary change. It is the right choice for Bowie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thompson? Ms. Thompson?
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and hello. I am the proud parent of a first-year cadet at Forestville Military Academy. My name is Yvette Thompson, and my cadet's name is DeVell Merrick. I feel it is important that Forestville remain a full military academy. Truth be told, FMA was not my son's school of choice. It was my choice. However, so far, over the course of these past months, my son has started his ascent into the decent man I have been training him to be. Part of that is due to what he receives as a family and as education value and rules and regulations and guidelines from Forestville Military Academy. He loves this school and the drill team. He has more self-esteem and confidence in himself than at any other point in his life. High school for him was going to be very difficult. However, because of the guidelines that not only he has to follow, but all the cadets have to follow at Forestville Military Academy, his transition into this new phase of his life has been much easier. The fact that FMA is the only military academy in PG County, to me, is more than enough reason to allow it to remain as it is. However, there are even more reasons why the current curriculum is successful, but the one that is most important to me is that it has enhanced my child's life in ways that are immeasurable. Although I am not maybe as savvy as some of the other speakers about all of the statistics that go with why FMA should remain as it is, I believe that when I walk through the halls of this school, I am in the presence of some of the greatest up-and-coming leaders. We need that. It is important for our future. I can't imagine why it would make sense to put a roadblock in this otherwise successful and progressive movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Terrence Letko, Lorena Shaw, Tanya Thomas, Kim Ryan.
Distinguished members of the school board, parents and students, thank you for the opportunity to address the important boundary change impacting our special education students and children. I'm especially interested in the special education students with autism at TIAC. As you know, educating a child with special needs requires a team approach. The teachers, the aides, the speech therapist do a great job at TIAC. Special accommodations are made in IEPs because many of these children need a small class setting, small groups, even one-on-one instruction. No more than my 9-year-old child with autism. Parents take over at night with the homework. Due to the nature of my child's autism, my wife or I sit side by side with our child on every page, every paragraph, every sentence, and sometimes every word. Staying on point in math is always a challenge. The TIAC teachers give our child in the special education system a lot of homework, and it's paid off. It's even harder when our child is immersed in his general education classes because we need to spend more time with him at home so he can keep pace with the faster learning process of the general education children. The proposed boundary changes presents a challenge that impacts our child's learning. The first concern is transportation. Currently, my child travels 40 minutes from our home in Accokeek to TIAC Academy. Extending to Rosaryville could double that. This means 3 hours a day on the bus. This could be trying for any child. It leaves less time for sleep and getting homework done. It's unclear whether the new school will abide by our child's IEP and continue to offer small group instruction and a dedicated aide. Our child has currently lost his aide due to a car accident and has not been replaced after a year. He does share an aide, which we're greatly thankful for, because TIAC does all they can. The idea of consolidating schools gives us a bad image of large classroom sizes for autistic kids that are pushed off into the corner. At least at TIAC, we know an autism program's in place. You get small group instruction for language and reading. The picture at Rosaryville is clouded at best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As the next speaker come up, Dr. Hyde, I think it's worth mentioning that, there are all of these proposals are obviously important, but there's some particular concerns when the TIAC parents are saying that they haven't been able to get information from staff around this issue. So I would direct that staff immediately address those and assist these parents in knowing what the services will be offered, because that really causes great concern. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Lorena Shaw, and I'm the current president of the John Hanson French Immersion PTSA. I also have 2 sons that attend the school, a 1st and 5th grader. I'm here tonight to encourage the members of the school board to vote in favor of moving the French Immersion program from John Hanson to Shugart for the 2012-13 school year. As you're aware, our school is currently overcrowded as it houses both the Montessori and the French Immersion programs. The need for the French Immersion program to move to Shugart is great. We currently have 76 4th and 5th grade students housed in temporary classrooms. Each time that a student needs to attend a special, eat lunch, or visit the nurse, they need to go outside and to the main building. In this type of weather, during this time of year, that means bundling them up and getting them in there. That's lost instruction time, let alone trying to figure out where to store coats in the music room. 2 of our temporaries are located between the main building and the parking lot. This is worrisome for parents, as it would be an easy target for a child predator to lay in wait in their car watching for a lone child to pass between the buildings. John Hanson is located in a very commercial area. A liquor store and 2 motels are across the street. From 3:30 until 6 every evening, Oxon Hill Road is backed up to the ramp for 495, which makes it very difficult for parents to pick up their children at dismissal. The traffic has been a major issue at the location, and many accidents occur as buses try to exit the school grounds. The arrival of a Walmart within the next year adjacent to our school will only increase these problems. G. Gardner Shugart is a school that will accommodate all of our students K through 8. It's located in a neighborhood setting with large ball fields surrounding it. Its closest neighbor is an elementary school, a much more appropriate setting for our students. Next year, we will have a total of 85 fourth and fifth graders who will meet the same fate if the program is not moved to Shugart. Our French immersion program has grown by nearly 100 students over the past 5 years. Please make the right choice and vote in approval for the move of the French immersion program from Hanson to Shugart Middle School during the summer of 2012. Thank you for your time and consideration of our students' needs.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Thomas, and I am the proud parent of Cadet Dion Days at Forestville Military Academy. I can become long-winded, so before I get buzzed, I will get to the point and beg you to please, please don't change Forestville Military Academy. That being said, let me tell you about my son. I'll take you back to his elementary years. My son was the child that every teacher would hate to have in their classroom. He was disruptive. He just did things just to do them. He's a smart kid. He got good grades, but at the same time, every report card would say, Dion Days is playful and disruptive in my classroom. I spent many of days up to the schools, sitting with him, pulling him out of the class, or some days just going there to do like this to let him know that I see him. All of that being said, from elementary, he went to G. James Golson, and I still did the same thing. He still did well, but in elementary, where he got suspended from fighting and things like that, didn't happen in G. James Golson, because at the same time of G. James Golson, I found military disciplining for him. I had him to become a U.S. Navy Sea Cadet, and he served that for 2 years in middle school. And then when he went to Forestville Military Academy, before he went there, I went there begging General Freeman to allow Dion to come to his school. I applied late, but with all of the accomplishments and the awards that my son have received, I think that helped him, General Freeman, to say, I'm going to give this child a chance. Since my son has been at Forestville Military Academy, he hasn't been suspended. There's been no fights. He's been proud of himself. He can do better with his grades. I think it was a change there, but it's something about the uniform, the discipline that is given at Forestville Military Academy that he would not have gotten with just a regular JROTC school. We as parents always go out to seek different things for our children, whether it be a tag program. Dion wouldn't have survived that. Whether it be opportunity for the creative, he's not creative. His only thing is basketball. Or whether it be alternative opportunities that the county offer, and there are kids that are in my neighborhood that couldn't succeed in other high schools, and they have to go to those alternative schools. And I just went to him and to General Freeman, and I prayed to him, and I begged. See, I told you I could get long-winded. But please, please, please do not change the school. Please allow them to keep these kids in their uniforms and not have them to become a regular high school.
Thank you.
Okay, the standing in line and nervous speaking. I'm really nervous now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Height, and my fellow constituents. My name is Kim Ryan, and I am not only a parent, but also the PTA at Yorktown Elementary School. I have been very active and involved in the possible boundary changes, and I am so pleased with the proposed boundary changes that Yorktown Elementary School may see. Without this change, Yorktown Elementary School will continue to sit with a population of under 50% of the state-rated capacity level and face possible closures. I know that you all are very aware of this. That being said, the entire Yorktown family has come up with some amazing ways of helping to ensure that if you vote for this boundary change for the Yorktown-Rockledge boundary, we as the Yorktown family will do everything possible to help with a smooth and easy transition for both students and their families. I speak on behalf of the entire Yorktown community. Please vote in favor of this boundary change. Yorktown Elementary School can increase our student population and welcome our new family members with open arms. Again, I want to thank all of you for your hard work and dedication to help ensure our children are receiving the best possible education Prince George's County has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. Deborah Watkis, Stanley Turner, Perrette Michelle, Monica Gaddy, and Kenneth Gaddy. Deborah Watkis, Stanley Turner.
Good evening, Ms. Jacobs, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Heights, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Stanley Turner, Senior Army Instructor at Forestville Military Academy. I believe most of you received the letter that I got from 4th Brigade from Ms. Lynn Davis, who is the Logistics Management Specialist, United States Army Cadet Command, 4th Brigade, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I just want to highlight, I'm not going to read the entire letter, but I just want to highlight the important parts that she sent in here. Forestville receives, Department of Army spends about $200,000 yearly for federal funding for Forestville for cadets on uniform items, office supplies, laundry, alterations, and uniform keep-up. Salary is cost shared by the Department of the Army with the county in order to support the large number of cadets. We also received $180,000 worth of automated equipment and curriculum materials to support the instructor's classroom, ensuring that it's current every 5 years. And during that time, the equipment is maintained under warranty until the new equipment is replaced. $25,000 is given to support the cadets on field trips, competitions, summer camps, and things of that nature. And we also receive weapons that cost $20,000 this year. These weapons are used for drill competition as well as color guard presentations throughout the county. I do want to read this. As a military academy, the cadets are required to wear the Army uniform every day, and the cost and upkeep of the maintenance of the uniform is funded by the Department of the Army. However, if Forestville becomes a high school, then the students who elect to take ROTC will only wear the uniform one day as determined by the instructors. The number of instructors, as well as the funding and all equipment, is based solely on the number of cadets in JROTC each year. However, when the number of enrollments decrease, so does the funding, the equipment, and the instructors. This was submitted by Ms. Lynn Davis, who is where we receive our funding for the ROTC program. Thank you very much for your time and your undivided attention.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Michelle?
Good evening. I'm Monica Gaddy.
Okay, Ms.
Good evening. I am a parent of a cadet at Forestville High School. In elementary school, he was put into the TAG program at William Bings Elementary, and like the parent that was here, I used to have to run up to the school because of his behavior issues. And then he went to Andrew Jackson Middle School, and it was the same thing for me and my husband. We had to run back and forth. When we walked into Forestville High School, Tops just took him under her wing and has really been a blessing to us. His hyperactivity has gone down because he has another focus, and his focus is the military and all that he can be. And I am a proud parent of this. I was not a military mom. I did not believe in the military. I had my own personal issues, but this is his dream. This is his goal. And as his mother, it's my job to support him. I also had, my daughter graduated from Forestville High School in 2003 when it was a high school. I was also a county bus driver, school board, for the school board in the 90s when it was Forestville High School, and the reputation was awful at that point when it was the high school. None of the drivers wanted that particular school because the behavior was so bad. I am from the first graduating class of Forestville High School, and so I just want to say, I just need y'all to put the children first and think about what's going to benefit them, what's best for them. I don't know if any of you have taken the time to actually go up to Forestville during the day when the cadets are in school and just walk through the hallways. That school, the atmosphere is totally different. I am now a crossing guard for the police department at Largo High School. So I get to deal with children all day long. I need y'all to stop, go by what you got on that sign that says children come first. And that's all I really have to say. My children, my grandchildren are important to me, so I'm sure you will see me again. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Gaddy. Michelle?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Hyatt, Chairwoman, honorable board members and constituents. My name is Pierrette Michelle. I am the proud mother of Andy Michelle, who attends Forestville Academy, and have seen how my son has benefited from the healthy, nurturing environment that Forestville Military Academy provides. He has been thriving for the last 3 years, and this is thanks to the impact that the environment of pride, discipline, integrity, and honor has had on him. The teachers and instructors at Forestville Military Academy have found a way to integrate these disappearing principles into all the academic classes and athletic activities, so that the youth that attend Forestville Military Academy never forget that it is the goal to excel academically, but it is just as important to excel as a proud, maturing person who knows he or she is destined to do great things. He or she is worth the educator's time and efforts, and he or she is capable of doing great things. Many would say my son Andy is unique because he wears his uniform proudly even when he is not required to do so. I have to remind him, Andy, you need to take the uniform off now. He has this attitude because of the sincere love he has for Forestville Military Academy School. The educators are doing a phenomenal job in teaching the youth the importance of pride and honor. Andy has developed such incredibly strong and positive self-esteem that when I look at him, when I hear him represent the school or our church, I feel so very proud because I hear the confidence and the pride in his voice. I have to thank the teachers, military instructors, and mentors at Forestville for this. It is rare for a youth in our time to have appreciation and recognition, recognize the necessity and attributes to being in an environment that promotes and demands self-respect, respect of others, honesty, pride, and honor. This program works. The youth benefit from it. And if the students benefit from it, the community benefits from it. Therefore, Prince George's County automatically benefits from this. Youths who believe, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Michelle. Mr. Gaddy? Mr. Gaddy?
Hi, Kenneth Gaddy. I'm here tonight as a resident, a taxpayer, a voter, and a concerned parent. Please listen to our children when they say, don't change the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddy. Colleagues, that concludes our public comment list. Before we move forward, I need a motion to accept the agenda as presented tonight, please.
So moved.
Thank you for the motion and the second with regard to the agenda. All in favor? Any objections or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. At this time, Dr. Height, I yield to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to all of the individuals who have either attended the public hearings on the boundary changes or been in attendance to make comments this evening, or who have sent the comments, suggestions, concerns, recommendations via email or any other form electronically. So we thank you for all of that. Madam Chair, we're not going to do another presentation, as we have done quite a few presentations that have evolved since the time that we proposed the boundary plan. However, I do have a statement that I would like to share this evening. I would also add for the public that many of the documents in support of our recommendations are provided on the board's website, and you could go to the board docs section of that and retrieve all of those documents. In October, staff submitted a boundary improvement and enrollment balancing plan. The plan was designed to address the following drivers: resolve enrollment imbalances. Those were particularly elementary schools that were overcrowded, while there were adjacent middle schools that were under-enrolled. The continued progress towards a 6, 7, 8 middle school configuration. If the board recalls, in phases 1 and 2 of our boundary work, one of the targets was to, where we could, begin to move middle schools to a 6, 7, 8 configuration. So we wanted to continue the progress towards that. And the third driver was really to address our talented and gifted wait lists and wait lists for specialty programs, i.e. the locating program sites and aligning with comprehensive boundaries so that we are able to operate those sites more efficiently. Now, due to past challenges with revenue, it is important for us to consider these drivers, because we know that under-enrolled schools cost us approximately $3,000 more per student to operate. Conversely, at an over-enrolled school, the district must also absorb the expenses associated with placing temporary classrooms on those facilities. Additionally, the continued progress towards 6, 7, 8 configuration is an attempt to address the learning environments for students during a time when they are experiencing social, emotional, and physiological changes. While there are several configurations that are conducive to improving the learning environments for students, what we know and what has been supported by research is that a 7th and 8th grade only configuration appears to be the least conducive to producing more significant outcomes. Furthermore, a 6, 7, 8 configuration allows us to increase, and this is to the question earlier about how do we move forward. We really are looking to increase access to more elective course offerings that are consistent with a middle school program, as opposed to those that occur while they're in elementary, which is an important component as we move toward more rigorous course offerings, both in the middle and in the high schools. Within the proposed plan, there were significant boundary adjustments, minor boundary refinements, grade structure changes, and program adjustments. The proposal, as the board knows, was first submitted as a discussion item and subsequently became a first reader in November. Following the acceptance of the plan as a first reader, staff held several public hearings in multiple locations throughout the county. Several hundred people attended the boundary hearings where staff captured their comments. Recommendations, suggestions, and concerns were also collected electronically. All suggestions and recommendations were analyzed against the drivers for the proposal, hence the delay in the board taking a vote on that action. At the first board meeting in January, staff presented an updated proposal that included updates from the original. It also provided a set of what-if circumstances if there was no vote taken or on all or part of the proposal. The update included the addition of Forestville Military Academy as a comprehensive high school. This change would bring Forestville into alignment with all other high school specialty options as an opt-in program. Currently, it is the only high school program where students must opt out. Additionally, we are struggling with our high school enrollment. As a matter of fact, there are 2,300 seats available currently at all of our high schools. Forestville represents 800 of those 2,300 available seats. After considering all of the information collected, I am now submitting this proposal for your approval. This proposal will impact approximately 4,000 students. While this is significantly less than the two previous boundary proposals, I feel the impact to our system is considerable. With this proposal, we have been able to address 6 overutilized schools that were at 110% capacity or higher. Those schools are Brandywine Rockledge, Lamont, Hollywood, Laura Elementary, and Heather Hills. Please note that while we were able to reduce the state-rated capacity at Hollywood, it is not totally resolved as it did not drop under the 100% state-rated capacity. With this proposal, we have also been able to address 9 underutilized schools that have a state-rated capacity of 75% or lower. Those schools are Stephen Decatur, Comedy Hills, Highland Park, Perrywood, Yorktown, Greenbelt Middle, Eisenhower, Tulip Grove, and Robert Gray. Additionally, with regard to talented and gifted, this proposal creates 575 seats, and that's an important note because in this proposal, those 575 seats essentially eliminates the wait list for seats in a talented and gifted program. In my opinion, this proposal addresses the drivers described earlier. As a result, the district can operate more efficiently while also addressing the needs for more seats in our specialty and tag programs. So, Madam Chair, I am submitting the proposal in its entirety for your approval. I do understand that the board may want to take components of that, but I am submitting it as a total proposal to the board at this time for approval. We'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Height. Colleagues, so that we may enter into discussion with regard to the superintendent's proposal, which he has submitted in its entirety based on its original proposal, I will entertain a motion. Ms. Johnson.
Madam Chair, I will introduce a motion, but I have a brief statement prior to that will allow us to begin the discussion. I have witnessed, experienced, and actually spoken on all boundary changes in Prince George's County over the past 40 years. There are 440 square miles or so in Prince George's County, and our population is in constant motion. We have even closed schools in the 70s and in the 80s. Now we have schools where there are no students or few students, and we have students where we don't have enough schools. We recognize the passion of all of our speakers. All children are important, but when we have to hear one school being denigrated to praise and raise up another, it is not acceptable. All children, irrespective of where they go to school, where they live, what language they speak, all children are important to us, and we will treat them respectfully in both word and deed, and thirdly, in action. The Board of Ed ensures that our children will achieve at high levels, and we accept the prime directive to do that. But we do not accept the prime directive solely or only or partially on where children live and the communities from which they come. We accept this prime directive because children are important and they are important to this community's future. Madam Chair, the superintendent has made a proposal to clear up past errors, misrepresentations, and to capitalize on opportunities to provide great education for our children. And therefore, Madam Chair, I move that we accept the boundary proposal of the Superintendent of Schools.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you, Ms. Waller, Ms. Beck. There's been a motion and a second to accept the superintendent's proposal as submitted. And at this time, I will open for discussion. Why don't I just jump in there first? Get it done. So I'm going to start with, so there are a number of proposals that are submitted across the district, and I'm going to address a few of them. I'd like to say that I'm very much touched by Forestville Military Academy. I wear a uniform almost every day. And so I appreciate what you are saying with regard to discipline and what students are offered at Forestville Military Academy. Of course, Superintendent Height has suggested to us that students on the track for the Forestville Military Academy will maintain that track. But let me go to another section, and that is the Rockledge Yorktown proposal. So I have consternation because in any change, families are affected and children are affected. I have visited and spent time at both schools, and I can tell you that as the representative of both schools and as a representative of this Board of Education who have to look after the benefit of all students, not just those in my district, that those are fabulous schools, both of them. I appreciate the work that is being done at Rockledge. I think that the principal there is committed to the work. I know that the principal at Yorktown, who's new, is committed to the work. She's also fabulous. So I'm going to tell you that I think I would be doing a disservice to the community to not support the Rockledge Yorktown proposal that's been submitted by Dr. Height. The reality is, I cannot stand by and see a school close where we have students who are who need to be served and who can be served. And quite frankly, while these proposals in some ways appear to be about numbers, at the end of the day, as Ms. Johnson just said, there are children behind those numbers, and we get that. We also know that in order for us to run an efficient and effective school district, we must look at those things. It's part of our job. Having said that, I support the Rockledge Yorktown change. I join in the Yorktown family in saying that as a board member, whatever events you have, please make sure that I'm invited. I want to be there for that process of transition. And I commit to the Rockledge community that as you have always called on me, you can continue to do that. And we also know that where parents are engaged, children do well. Rockledge has engaged parents, so does Yorktown. So I welcome that change, and I support, Dr. Height, your proposal for that, again, because I don't want to see one school close when we don't have to. I have to also mention that I have concerns around another change, and that is the Heather Hills change. Not because I don't think it's a good proposal. I actually know that we have 110 constituents in Bowie who are affected and are on the waiting list for TAG. But I also appreciate that where families are split and have to tell one child they're going to one school and another child they're going to another. And I know that happens when they split grades anyway, middle and high school. But I just want to state that while Dr. Height, I do appreciate the proposal that you've submitted around that because of the TAG seats, I do understand that communities, when they build and they respect where they are and they understand where they are and they are comfortable where they are. So I am stating that the Heather Hills proposal causes me more consternation, and I know we're talking about a smaller number of students, and I also know that but for the TAG program, Heather Hills would also probably be proposed to close. But I think that I do need to state that because that is a more difficult decision for me. Having said that, I recognize Ms. Jackson.
Good evening. I unfortunately do not vote on boundary changes, but I just wanted to say that I am a strong supporter of keeping Forestville Military Academy the way that it is, because because like they said, the numbers show how the change improved the school, and I understand the school within the school mentality, but being in the science and technology program at my school, I can attest to the fact that that's not the same as having a whole school filled with the same people with similar values. And I just think that it's crazy for us to hear what everyone has said about the great things that this school's change has done, and to say that we're going to change the dynamics of an entire school for 40 students. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Beck?
Can I get some clarity on the TIAC discussion that the parents had? It appears that the proposal moves 17 children from TIAC to Rosaryville, and several of the parents spoke about how their staff or their teachers weren't able to address the proposal with them.
Ms. Beck, I'll have to check on just what communications have gone out. The recommendation actually came from the special ed department. Addressing the needs of autism is an increasing challenge because of simply the number of kids, and special ed felt very strongly that they could provide a very, very strong program at Rosaryville. But I'll have the details for you tomorrow morning on exactly why the TIAC move was recommended. But I do know that we have a need for additional seats for the autism program.
I would just add, Ms. Beck, that in any, and Dr. Arbogast is going to check on the communication that went to parents, but even within that situation, anytime we move a set of children with an IEP, then the teachers who are with those children in the current location will also move with those children to the new location.
Okay. I just wanted to say that one parent was somewhat nervous about the Rosaryville site, and I live 2 blocks from Rosaryville, and I've been over there several times, and it is a very welcoming school, and I know the struggles that parents with our special needs kids have, because we went through this before for Skyline, and it's a very traumatic move, but I do feel that Rosaryville is a very, I mean, I can testify to that school, that I'm very comfortable with that location and the staff, and you know, if the special ed department recommended it, then that seems to be further endorsement of the move. I'm just concerned that in the future, when we have moves, that we don't have parents coming up and saying that our staff couldn't speak to us about this. I think that moves, especially for special needs kids, there needs to be communication from the teacher directly to the parents. But I will be supporting this and look forward to meeting the new families who are coming into the Rosaryville district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Mr. Armwood?
I want to speak to the Forestville Military Academy. I want to say I recognize that the Forestville Military Academy is a great program. The cadets are doing great things, and that is a program that needs to be supported. Cadets will still wear the uniform every day. They will graduate from the Forestville Military Academy. But I also believe that the discipline and the drive that you display can and should still be maintained even if you share the building with civilians. It is being done in other places. And it is easy to show discipline and maintain your culture when you stand alone. It is more meaningful when you do that as a beacon in the community, because that's the real world. In the real world, you're part of a community. And I believe that we can
Mr.
maintain.
Armwood, forgive me for interrupting you. I would just say that we did have public comment, and we would ask that you at least allow the board member to speak the same way that we heard your comments. I think he does have that right, Mr. Armwood.
We're not making these changes because we want to tear the program down. We have a responsibility to the entire school system, and we have a responsibility to conserve and protect our resources in the community. If the program continues to shrink, it could actually be a target for closing in the future. This is an opportunity to protect the school in the future. I support the superintendent's recommendation, and I do support and believe that you will continue to succeed.
Thank you, Mr. Armwood. Ms. Higgins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I too am going to be supportive of this proposal, and I want to thank the I want to thank the administration for your very thoughtful, comprehensive, multifaceted approach to address the issues that we have had to deal with in terms of class sizes and class small schools. I think it has been extremely well done, professionally done, taking into account the comments made by the community and making the adjustments as as warranted and as we could, totally being attentive to what are the educational needs for all our children. So I thank you, Dr. Height, and for your staff. I too would like to speak to Forestville Military Academy and say that you made your case. Even though I'm in support of this proposal, the pride, the dignity, the passion with which you spoke about Forestville Military Academy, which as a result of your testimony has been even more confirmed that it will remain. You will graduate. Graduates from the military academy will graduate from the military academy. The funds, that program will stay intact. The 700 plus students that are in that military academy will continue to perform as the military academy. With 800 vacancies in that program, you can see that you're vulnerable. And so by adding the non-student population, which I understand is not something that as the military academy you see working, that will in fact allow that program to continue to build and develop. Your presentations were extremely impressive and very, very compelling, and I thank you and I thank the educators who are clearly making a difference in the lives of the children that we all serve. Having said that too, part of me can't believe that that if there's 700 plus strong cadets in that academy, that having 50 to 100 students who are not part of the academy aren't going to see you all as role models. I understand that's not what you're looking for, but your presentations were extremely impressive, certainly to me. I'd like to talk just briefly about the Heather Hills issue, and again, those parents were very, very passionate about what they see as their vision for their community. That being said, again, that's a school that has under very significant enrollment problems, and we would, by putting it in a tag center, it allows us to provide additional slots for those tag students. The commute is, my understanding is, to the other school is 1.5 miles. Also that there are some classes at Heather Hills, or at least one class, where there's 7 students in it. Those students, that really is unsustainable in being able to offer an equitable program and being able to offer a program that is equally exceptional where those comprehensive students will be going. One of the other comments was made, and certainly in my community, I'm in District 2, and there are a number of schools that will be losing their 5th graders and going into the 6th grade. And this process and the discussion with the community has helped me to then go back and ask more questions of the administration in terms of what's the rationale, what's the thinking, to make sure that we're doing things that are in the best interests of our children. And for me, not only will the 6th graders be able to have a more diverse and more rigorous educational opportunity, which is a compelling reason. But the sixth graders will move into a school where they will stay for 3 years, which will give them at a vulnerable time in their lives an opportunity to connect stronger before going to the next system. Otherwise, they're in that school 2 years, and what I've heard time and time again, they're there, they just get used to it, and then they're gone. And this will allow them to stay in those in that setting for a 3-year period. I have two other statements. One is the Rockledge-Yorktown issue. I think that this proposal really looks at the Bowie community as a whole, and I have to say, as somebody who is not a Bowie resident, the welcoming nature of the Yorktown family and the Yorktown community to reach out to make that an open invitation for the Rockledge has been impressive as somebody, as a Prince George's County resident and as a Board of Education member. And my last statement would be in regards to the TIAC parents. I certainly was concerned about the issues that the TIAC parents raised, and really look to the administration, who's already made a commitment to prioritize working with these parents, providing them all the information that they need, and then the special ed program administration working closely to assure that there's a smooth transition. Those children, as all of ours, deserve it. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you for those comments, Ms. Higgins. Ms. Eubanks?
We here at the Prince George's County Public School Systems, we have a lot of adjustments that must be made. In any job or position we have, sometimes we have to make hard decisions. We have to do things that we really don't want to do. According to the last census, Prince George's County's household are over 50% single-parent households, to which I am a part of that. And with that being said, children who come from a single-parent household already have a disadvantage. And this county needs what Forestville Military Academy has to offer as it is. Now, I'm not saying that we have the money to do it. I'm not saying that we have the money to do it, but it is a need. And I charge the FMA family, the way you passionately spoke to us about your school and you love it, talk to your friends, talk to your family, get them to enroll in it as a military academy. See, we take heart to what we love. And when you love it, nobody could push it the way you all pushed it to us. And that's what I have to say about that. That's my personal opinion. I love what you do, but we still have to have the money to run it, because it's not about the few, it's about the whole. We have to think about the system as a whole. In reference to the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, I do support that, because there are too many studies to prove that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade together. And I know it's hard as a parent, because both of mine they're out of public school now, but I had to deal with that too. But it's much better on the students. The students, they're resilient. They'll take it a lot better than we will. I think it's harder for us as parents to think of us putting our babies in middle school, but they will bounce back. You'll see, and they'll be better, and they'll be better prepared for high school and beyond doing that. Everyone realizes that changes are needed, but none of us, including myself, we don't want to be the change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eubanks. Mr. Burrows?
Dr. Hyatt, members of the board, I want to urge you to support the current Forestville Military Academy with a no vote on this proposal. My no vote on this proposal is a salute to the many cadets now, past, and present. Job well done. I believe we must join the Forestville community, the PTSA, the civic associations, the churches, and come up with a countywide campaign to display the value of the program and work with them to attract more students. I have grave concerns about moving 6th grade to middle school, as I've said over and over and over again. Across the board, our elementary schools are strong. And K-8 is where we really want to go. I realize we don't have enough money to get there. I realize that having just 7th and 8th grade is not an ideal situation. I realize that. But when I look at least in District 8, and when I look at the county, I see that our elementary schools are extremely strong. They're doing well, and their enrollment is actually up. And we see a decrease in enrollment for middle school because our parents are not, they don't have the level of confidence in our middle schools because of the scores and corrective action and that sort of thing. So I will not be supporting that part of the proposal. There are other parts of this proposal that I absolutely support, but unfortunately the motion was made to take it as a whole, so that will not be reflected in the minutes. I also do want to recognize there's a principal here of John Hanson French Immersion. I want to thank you so much for your leadership of that building.
Madam Isama, thank you for being here.
I mean, if every school could be like your school, you know, I vote K-8 all the way. But thank you for the work that you do every day. Your scores are high because you work hard. And I'm not saying that our middle schools are horrible, or I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying when I look at the numbers and when I talk to my community and when I talk to the parents across the board, I'm going to vote to keep 6th grade in elementary school.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows. Ms. Waller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, as always, I would like to thank all of our parents and our community, our business partners for engaging in a very challenging aspect of the work of the Board of Education. Certainly, I have appreciated seeing some of Prince George's finest students appear before the board. I have several points. I listened to the young Marines tonight, and I reflected on some of your, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead, I'm sorry. I'm going to go there. I listened to the fine cadets from Forestville Middle Academy. I will get right, because what I'm saying is that you all are about leadership. I'm probably unique on the board in that my son, at a very young age, engaged in the Young Marines. And he thought it was the beginning of everything. He wasn't there for a discipline. It was just that he loved it. He thought there was no other service like the Marines. And he had the same passion that you all had. And I enjoyed that. As you all continue to make changes at the Academy, you all are going to continue to be the leaders and serve with passion. I know that you all are. It has been instilled in you. The values that were instilled in my son back in the Young Marines when he was in the 3rd and 4th grade and we were going back and forth, he still exhibits those same qualities. We heard someone tonight, and the board is concerned also with the timeliness and the projections of the decisions that we make on the lives of our students and those persons residing in our community. We want you to be aware that we are cognizant of those effects. And certainly we're trying to work with the superintendent and the staff to ensure that we do things in a timely manner and that all of our information is disseminated in a way that all persons can understand it and receive it. Again, this is an instance where we know that our administration, we are doing more with less, but we are trying to get the information out as much as we can. I struggle with the putting grades 6, 7, and 8 together somewhat. I have concerns. I feel that from the time, for the last number of years, the elementary schools have shored up their prerequisites for academic excellence. And certainly in the 7th and 8th grades, we haven't quite figured out what's happened. So I'm sort of struggling with that, but I am going to support the grades 6 through 8. I believe it's important, and I've expressed this to the administration, that we continue to prepare our elementary schools, those 5th graders that will be going to the 6th graders, of what they're going to be doing in the middle school segment. But I do support, I thank the staff for working hard. There's been lots of travel, hard nights, people giving input, and we thank Dr. Coleman Potter for all that she's done. She's taken a lot of heat. I mean, night and day. She has a family also. I'm calling you out. That's right. We're calling you out. We know you have a family, and we know there are other staff persons that have worked hard day and night, and we want to thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Waller. Ms. Boston?
Very quickly,
Ms. Boston.
Boston, sorry.
First of all, I want to thank all of the guests for coming out tonight and speaking, especially the parents that are advocating so passionately for your students, for your children today. I understand the parents at the Forestville Military Academy. I, too, was a parent of a daughter who was a cadet at Suitland, who was the only girl cadet on the all-boys drill team. So I understand that value and that pride in doing that being a cadet. I really want to appreciate that. But I will be supporting today the boundary changes, especially the ones that are concerning my district, District 6. I think the expansion of the Judy Hoyer Montessori Center to the Oakcrest Center is a wonderful opportunity to expand that program. I think moving Oakcrest to Highland Park is also an excellent idea to make sure that those programs stay intact. Oakcrest is one of our higher performing schools. So the fact that we be able to keep that intact, I really appreciate the superintendent making that recommendation. And I just wanted to, to let you know that I will support this bill based on the boundary changes.
Thank you, Ms. Boston. Ms. Johnson?
Just to conclude before we do this vote, I was at the first school in Prince George's County that added 6th grade to middle school. The transition was flawless. In addition to that, my training is as not just a teacher in foreign language, but also in education reform and school construct, particularly in urban types of settings. I submit to you that the research is quite clear that young people who stay together the longest amount of time and having a robust, academically student-focused program and that length of time, it takes away all of the natural human concerns about a wider age range. Yes, people may feel, no, I don't do this, I don't support it, this or that. But I think that as a member of the Board of Ed, it is incumbent to have seen it in action, to have lived it, to have worked it, and to have had the research grounding to be able to have enough data in front of you. It is normal to have trepidation about your little one going off in a new direction. But our staff is skilled, and I will tell you, in those early days of the first and only school, the parents were crying, weeping, wailing, they were concerned, they were frightened, and I will tell you, none of their fears were borne out, because the professionals in Prince George's Public Schools, like other places, the children were fine, and they will be here, and the greatness of the robust, enhanced program, full out 6th grade, which is actually middle school by Maryland State education standards, they will now have it. And so, Madam Chair, at this point, I look to you to start the vote process.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I think you're calling for the vote. Dr. Hyde, I want to say thank you to you and your staff. I know this is also hard work for you. And with that being said, I have no other buzz-ins. Ms. Jackson, call the roll, please.
On the motion, Mr. Armwood?
Aye.
Ms. Beck?
Aye.
Ms. Boston?
Aye.
Mr. Barrows?
No.
Ms. Eubanks? Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Waller?
Aye.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Ms. Jacobs?
Vote aye.
Ms. Eubanks?
I support it, so I guess I'll say aye, but I have a problem with one part. I support the whole proposal because it's brought to us as a whole.
That's the motion on the floor. Motion passed.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you, colleagues, for your work. Dr. Height, do you have anything further? Move to adjourn.
So moved.
Executive